I think you might just have the next Michael Jordan on your hands.
Oh, no, brother man. I got me the next two.
I like the way you think.
Hey guys, we just saw King Richard.
That's right, everybody. Is this the kind of movie you're gonna love? Get it? Tennis? Love? You know what I'm saying? Hey, stick around because we're about to find out.
All right, Billy, King Richard. Who we got in this?
Yeah, man, we got Will Smith. We got, the guy needs no introduction, of course. Then we got Saniyya, Sidney, and Demi Singleton, who are Venus and Serena Williams. I don't think I've ever seen them in anything before, but I liked them in this. They did a pretty damn good job. We got, who else we got, man? Go ahead.
Well, we got Tony Goldwyn. He's the guy that was in Ghost, played the villain, also in The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, yep.
And, of course, we got John Bernthal, the Punisher from Walking Dead, Fury, Ford vs. Ferrari. I love this guy. He's
we're
good
seeing him in everything now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I love John Bernthal,
He's big
dude.
time.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, when you see the after credits too, and just looking how they did up with the Smith family, man, or with the Williams family, I thought they did a pretty good job making Will Smith.
Family. Huh?
They did a pretty good job making Will Smith look like and even sound like the dad. I was like, man, he did pretty good.
What were your thoughts going into this? Were you excited for this movie? What'd you think beforehand?
Honestly, man, up until like a week or two ago, I hadn't heard much about this movie.
I didn't even know this movie existed. I saw a trailer for this in the movie theater, and I was like, that looks kind of interesting. I'll check it out.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I thought. Yeah, like a week or two ago is when I first saw the trailer for it, like you said, in the theater. And I was like, that might be worth checking out. And then when we saw it was on HBO Max, I was like, oh, yeah, definitely got to watch this and review it, you know. Especially you got, Will Smith in it, and especially the fact that it's about Serena and Venus Williams and the whole family dynamic and stuff. It's like, man, it's definitely going to be interesting because, they came out of nowhere, just blew the tennis world away. So it's kind of cool that they kind of came up with a movie showing, how that whole situation really came about, right? So
yeah, and this probably brings you back to your childhood at the country club and tennis and all that stuff.
yeah, that's exactly where I grew up.
Pinkies up and stuff.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close.
I didn't think much about it, but I tell you what, this movie pleasantly surprised me.
Dude, this movie really surprised me.
I wasn't really looking forward to it, and then it was pretty good.
It was really good, man. This is definitely, we're going to see this one like up at the Oscars and stuff like that, man. There definitely going to be some, best actor, best actress kind of stuff going on here. Maybe even best film, I think, because it was great, man. I mean, of course they embellished some stuff in it that really didn't happen, but the stuff that was in the movie, and the fact that they didn't just portray him as this like super awesome dad, but they threw the kind of the bad stuff in there too that we'll get into, right? Not much, but at least they kind of didn't leave you thinking that, oh, this guy's just a super phenomenal dad, right?
I'll tell you what, this movie is like most true stories. When you start looking into it, it starts to fall apart a little bit. As you look at some scenes, you're like, wow, did that really happen? You look it up, and most likely not. You know what I mean? So, but I will say this: Will Smith, he brought his A game.
Oh, dude,
it was good.
Dude, yeah.
Even the mom was slaying the dragon. She killed it. I mean, she was like bringing the feels, the emotion.
Hey, Dan, go ahead.
I'm gonna stay right here until the job is done.
Don't stay here doing me no favors.
Richard, you think I'm staying here because of you? I stay here because of my girls. I stay here because I answer to something higher than Richard Williams, and you better be glad. Because if I was staying here for you, I would have been gone a long time ago.
It was good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the girls, man, they did a great job, dude. Oh, yeah, man.
John Bernthal,
that dude's always awesome, right? I mean, Tony Goldwyn, he did awesome, he was only in the movie for about 20, 30 minutes, but the
he
time
was kind of like
good.
one of the initial coaches, and he kind of gets screwed out of the
He's like, and it kind of made me feel like, first of all, this movie makes you like, wow, Will Smith is like doing good by the girls, and at the same time, it's like totally makes him seem like a selfish dude, right? Like really a lot of it's about himself.
You are the most stubborn person I have ever met in my life. And I coach McEnroe.
We appreciate everything you've done, Paul. But this part of our relationship is done. And we will no longer be requiring your services anymore.
And but then it kind of switches back and forth, right? A little bit of both, and and he gets Tony Goldwyn to teach his daughters for free, right? For like a year or something, man.
First off, he shows up and he's in the middle of teaching Pete Sampras and John McEnroe,
right.
And he just walks up and like, "Hey, you want to check my girls out while they're playing?" And I'm like, "Did this really?" I didn't look that up, but that would surprise me if it went down like that.
Well, then the fact that when John walked away, he's like, "Hey, man, John's gone. He ain't come back." Pete was kicking his butt. He don't look like he's ready to play.
Pete, can we get a couple games in? He's like, "I don't care.
Go ahead, man. Let me see these girls."
It's funny because he gave Pete like a brochure. He's like, "I had the girls sign that if you want."
They're gonna be big one day.
Brochure, Pete. So you take a look at that. I'm gonna have him sign it for you later. Come on. Got it. So
and there's a lot of good comedy in this as far as just like Will Smith's character and his attitude, right? That dude's
love the attitude.
He's got a hilarious attitude in this, man. Just the way he goes about stuff, and sometimes annoying, right? Sometimes an annoying attitude, like, man, you're really pushing the buttons here and stepping on some toes you probably shouldn't be stepping on. And
a lot of people are making huge investments in these girls, and they eventually want this to pay off. And the dad's being kind of problematic.
Oh, big time, big time problematic. But then when you kind of reel back and stop for a minute, because at first you're like, man, what a jerk. He's been a freaking jerk to all these other people who are trying to do good by his daughters. But of course, they're going to make money off of it in the back end too, right? But then at the same time, when he's trying to explain it, especially there's an emotional scene with his wife, where he's talking to his wife about stuff, and it's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to say here. I get you don't want your daughters getting in too early because you don't want them to end up getting burnt out. And, and not finish school and just be like some, just random freaking NFL football player who thought he was going to make it big and got hurt and was done and, didn't had a freaking underwater basket freaking weaving degree and didn't do shit in life afterward, right? So, I mean, I totally get where he's coming from. And I appreciate the fact that if this is true, the way they push academics on these kids, right? And the way they pushed other things aside just from sports, but just to make sure that these kids were going to be graduating at the top of their class, make sure they had the kind of education they needed to get.
we're not gonna rush this, Rick. Everything going good. We're not gonna start rushing now.
What are they gonna do, Richard? They gonna play ping pong?
No, they're gonna practice with you. They're gonna go to school. They're gonna go to the hall. And pretty much they're gonna be kids. That's what I want.
Yeah, this is interesting because he's like grooming these girls like from a very young age to be champions. I mean, he's interviewing like their big time and stuff like that. He's making them watch Cinderella, and he's like, "What's the moral of the story?" They get it wrong. He's like, "We watch this again." So,
and the mom's like, "What the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing that?"
Even after Venus is creaming people, they're kind of gloating and bragging.
You just said Venus.
Venus, she's creaming people, and then they're kind of talking about it, and he thinks they're bragging, and he don't like that. And he's just like, he kind of kicks him out of the car to go get some pop or whatever, and then he plans on leaving them behind, and he'd be like, they can walk home.
Right, and which is why when they got home, he made them all watch Cinderella, because what's the moral? He's like, to be humble. He said, look, she went through all this crap, but she was still humble about it. And, and that's what we are in his family. We're going to be humble.
Which is kind of interesting because they don't really seem humble in their words a lot of times.
Right, well, especially him. He doesn't seem humble. When he's behind that camera and when he's talking to other people and like, hey, man, that guy's golf cart's going to be mine. You watch. They're not humble about that. So it's kind of, he was very, very contradicting in the way he was telling his daughters how to act, but in the way he was acting himself, right? So a lot of contradiction in that, a lot of hypocrisy from him in that. But made for a good movie.
I did like how the dad has this huge plan, but the mom is also kind of like guiding him and teaching him and having him learn some lessons along the way as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
So I really like that aspect.
Their family, the best kind of team.
You don't think that was a decision that you should have discussed with me? Discussed with Venus? Richard, my faith dictates that I stand by your side.
All right,
but
well, just
don't
do that,
mistake
then.
my silence for agreement. You do that again, and I won't be quiet.
Serena kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit in this movie, which kind of surprised me because she's generally the better of the two sisters.
She is the better.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
In real life, she's got more championships and
23
things like
Grand
that.
Slams.
And she's beat her sister more than her sisters beat her. So, but the movie's more about the dad than anybody.
Yeah, which is why it's called King Richard, right?
Right.
But I mean, that dude's a character. I tell you that, man. You just watch this, you're like, damn, even half this stuff's true about this guy. It's like, holy crap, what a character this guy is, man. And again, Will Smith played him freaking phenomenally. I mean, holy cow,
and
man.
that's the thing. You start looking this up because there's a lot of good morals from this movie, which kind of bothered me because in real life it seems to be a contradiction. Like, one of his greatest fears is like, hey, my father left me one day, and I don't want to be that guy with you. But like you start digging into him in real life, and he seems to have a lot of kids he may have left behind.
Right, yeah. He's got, so when we were doing some digging, I mean, his oldest daughter, so before he even met Serena and Venus's mom, he had 6 kids with another lady, and he flat out just up and left that family pretty much, high and dry. Went and met Serena's mother, started having kids with her, and plus she had already had 3 kids from a previous marriage. And his oldest daughter did an interview saying, hey, there's a possibility this guy's got like 15 to 19 kids. He cheated on my mom all the time. He's probably got kids everywhere. And then you found, and then of course he had a son with then he ended up divorcing Serena. Venus's mom had a son with somebody else. The dude's got a lot of kids, right? And so it's like the only kids he really seems like that he really took the time to put into is those 2. Kind of what it makes you. In reality, when you're looking at things, at least that's how his other kids say it as well when you see the interviews with him and stuff in reality. So,
yeah, it seems like there's some interesting things going on with him. And like, he allegedly like moved into Compton. They had enough money not to live there, but he thought like that environment would be good for toughing them up and making them like superstars, I suppose. So.
Yeah, and then he played and then he kind of goes into it with Serena a little bit. Look, the reason I've got you in your sister's shadow right now is to toughen you up, right? Because I know you can handle it. Because, your sister is going to be the number 1 person in the world, but one day you're going to be the greatest champion that ever lived at tennis, right? And evidently he really did say that to her. They have a little thing credit at the end of it, talking about that. But that's kind of why Serena's kind of overshadowed in this movie a little bit too, because they make it more about not just him but Venus. Because I guess that's just just showing how Serena came up under her sister and then got to where she's at. So
You're gonna be the greatest of all time. You know how I know? Because I planned for it. I knew you was having a hard time in Venus's shadow, but I kept you there because I knew you was rough. I knew you was tough. I knew you was a fighter.
Yeah, and I think if you take like the real life stuff out of it and you just look at it as this film, I think it's a great movie. A lot of good lessons learned, and
absolutely,
it's good to show anyone. And I love the underdog kind of story of these women, where they're coming from, where they're going, the class that they have, and like the dad trying to protect them in this harsh environment and raise their kids appropriately. I love that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, and that's the thing too, right? I mean, I think they show the family dynamic a little unrealistically, because aside from the dad being kind of a jerk, I mean, man, that is a tight ship they're running in that house, right? Like, you never see any real family arguments, like the kids fighting with each other. None of that. It's like, all right, you go do this, you go do that, you go to bed, brush your teeth, and the girls are like, oh, yes, Dad, yes, Mom. And it's like just the tightest dang household I've ever seen in my life, So it's like,
it's possible.
Right, so they're not really showing, I'm sure plenty of times there were probably many fights in the house, just like any siblings are going to fight and stuff like that. But it didn't show any of that, right? It just showed this super, tight ship kind of run household.
To be brave.
Brave. Explain how you mean?
Well, you gotta be pretty brave to take a ride in a pumpkin.
Okay, go to your room. No, go ahead, because you're fooling with me, and I'm not fooling with you. Go ahead to your room.
And so you didn't get a really good look at the family in the house as far as how was it really, How was it really? I mean, and of course,
it could have been like that. I don't know.
And of course, again, it's a movie, But for what they showed, it was awesome. They did a great job.
Now, what did you think about the actual tennis and action side of this?
I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was good. The best parts I thought, and the whole tennis side of it was when they got John Bernthal as their new coach, and he bought them this new house, and hooked them up, and in his training camp and all that crap, and then the dad's running the show. Right?
And that was kind of fun. Like, what else is kind of funny is like he comes and he's like, "Hey, this is a standard contract, and you sign." And then they pull out their own contract, and like, "This is a standard contract.
Right.
Like this is part of the deal."
Now this here is our standard agreement.
I'm sorry, you're...
You take these girls, you take us all, the whole family.
He's like, what do you mean you're on contract? He's like, yeah, it ain't just 2. We got a family here. You bringing us all. He's like, by the way, he's like, wait, you want an RV? And he's like, well, yeah, man, we got to get to Florida somehow.
Yeah, I mean, like RV, house, food. It's funny, too, because like Nike comes in there and offers them like $3 million, and they turn it down. And then, John Bernthal's character is just like, I don't know. We should do. He's like, we'll get some food to be all right. We need you over here to pay for it.
You got to come over and pay for this, man. The dad's saying, well, because John Bernthal's character, now in his contract, he gets 15% of all their future earnings, right? So when he sees $3 million,
seems fair in my mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For him to buying them a house, freaking, letting them. I mean, he paid for everything: vehicles, house, freaking education, all of it. Paid for all of it. So yeah, I mean, it's totally fair, I think.
Yeah, and this tennis organization center he's got going is just
world class.
next level.
Oh, world class, dude. Oh yeah. And I'm just seeing that crap in that movie, and it was like, holy cow, this is insane, man. It's like, damn. Yeah.
And she's doing it at this a very young age. I mean, she's like 12 to 14. And
she played the #1 player in the world at 14 years old. So it was like, holy cow, man, this kid is phenomenal. So it was cool, man. I really enjoyed all that.
So what do you rate this? This is kind of like a tough movie to rate and just throw a number at it, but
it is
what we do here.
But at the same time, I definitely think we're going to see this movie up for some Oscars. I think the acting was phenomenal. I think just the dynamic of the movie was phenomenal. I'm giving it an 8, man. I'm giving this movie an 8. I mean, it was a dang good movie. Dang good movie. And I like, for especially going into it, not really hearing about it before, and just really like, I could have cared less if I'd watched it originally, and then I watched it. I was like, man, I'm glad
how
I
much
watched
less
this
could
movie.
you care?
Huh?
How much less could you care?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You mean you couldn't care less? Is that what you meant to say?
Yeah, that too.
That's a pet peeve of mine. But
I couldn't have cared less.
There you go.
There you go.
Now
Thank you.
you're doing it. But
doing it was, I was like, damn, I'm glad I watched this, man. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah, I'm really glad I watched it. Like I said, it's hard to put a number on it. The acting's great and everything. I don't know. I probably have to give this. I'm just going to give it a 9. It's hard to compare this to other movies because it's kind of a hard movie, like especially all the action movies and stuff we've seen lately.
Yeah.
But we just saw Ghostbusters earlier. I might have enjoyed this more than Ghostbusters.
I did enjoy this more than Ghostbusters. So, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm giving this a 9.
Hey, man, you know what? I don't hate that, man. Like you know what? Hell, I'd almost want to bump mine up to a 9. I'm gonna keep my 8, but it was a good movie. Like I said, I definitely think we're gonna see this movie up for some Oscars. Up for some awards, because it's definitely gonna be an award-winning movie, I think.
Yeah, the only problem I have is like the ending. I felt like it needed a little something different near the end.
Well, but I did like the after the end when it showed like a little bit of
I did like that.
It showed down what happened with the family and all that, and how much stuff Serena's won, how much Venus has won, and all that stuff. So that was kind of, and then it showed pictures and videos of the actual families. That was cool. I liked how they did it. Yeah,
I don't think it ended it in a satisfactory manner for me. And then the also like the real life story compared to this, like this is kind of like, I feel like a little Disney-esque spin on this that's trying to like paint this family in this rosy, perfect kind of way almost.
That's what I was saying earlier.
I know, but I gotta like take away a point practically just because of that. If this was like mostly true, then I would say this is like close to a 10 probably at that point. So
how many Hollywood movies are based on true story are mostly true? None.
Well, Ford versus Ferrari's close. There are some movies that are pretty close.
All right. There's some are close, yeah. And this one was probably relatively close.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure it's relatively close.
And a 9 is pretty good, so.
Yeah, 9's awesome, yeah. All right, man. No, that's good, dude. Wow, I think our total score, this is probably the highest total score we've given a movie together. I think so.
It might be.
I think it is. I think this is the highest total score movie that we've given a movie together. It's high because I've never given one an 8 and you give one a 9 and vice versa. And I've only given one other movie a 9, and that movie you give like a 6 or a 7, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot depends on like your expectation going in a movie, and I didn't really have any expectations, so that probably helped this one out.
Yeah, no, it definitely helped it out for me too.
So,
and the fact that it was just a phenomenal movie.
Yeah,
definitely go and even better, it's free on Hbo Max. Because hadn't it been free on Hbo Max, we wouldn't have watched it probably.
Yeah, probably not.
Not until it came out, on streaming. So definitely, if you got HBO Max, check this movie out.
If you're on the fence, give it a try.
If you don't have HBO Max, go see it in the theater. It was that good. I wouldn't have had any issue paying for the movie and seeing it in the theater.
Yeah, this is not the kind of movie that I generally go to the movie for.
But you're gonna give it a 9?
Yeah. Well, this is not like an action-packed movie where I feel like you need like an audience with you and stuff like that.
Well, no, you don't. But it was a damn good movie.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, hey, King Richard.
If you saw it, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, please let us know. Yeah, and especially what'd you think about the dad? Because we each kind of express our opinion on it. And there's a lot of actual real news out there and stuff. So listen to what you think about old King Richard.
And we're not tennis experts, so if tennis is your thing, let us know what you picked up on. Maybe this movie is heavily flawed from a tennis aspect. I don't know.
Absolutely. And on top of that, hey, as always, hit like and subscribe, and check us out at the next review.
See you guys.
This is the kind of movie you're gonna love. Get it? Tennis, love.
Really, I might have a crack. Not leaking, but that's a crack. I gotta buy like 20 of these just to keep going.
He's had too much sun, man. Too much sun, not enough chapstick going on there. Just got like a little crack in the skin there.
All right, you know who's in this movie?
Yeah, man. Will Smith.
Will Smith.
The mom's name's hard as shit. Good Lord. Aunjanue. I ain't gonna try to say that shit. So relatively, what the hell are you doing? This guy. What are you doing?
I'm making sure there's nothing weird.
You want me to go get a mirror for you? What's this guy doing?
You ain't supposed to see that, man. Look away.
So I'll say Will Smith, Saniyya, or I'll say Will Smith, and then you can be like, yeah, John Bernthal, Tony. No, I need to see these girls quick.
Quick.
Yeah, Will Smith, and then we got Saniyya, Sidney, and Demi Singleton. Saniyya, Sidney, and Demi Singleton. And then you got John Bernthal and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And Tony Goldwyn. Let's do it, man.
Hold on, yeah.